Greetings, contributors. Thank you for joining me. We are probably all getting close to the point where we're freaking out a little bit. We've got a lot of material put together, but maybe don't have the final draft of our movies put together. And I've learned a few things along the way that I'd like to share with you that might make those last tasks a little bit easier for you. I've already put together a PowerPoint, a very, very short one for you so that I can demonstrate the points that I'm trying to make for you. This one is just a super brief one on creating MP4s for making movies from PowerPoint, and this is the method that is free. Now I'm making this recording on a software called Camtasia. It's a little bit on the spendy side. I don't expect you to buy it, but it was the way that I could make this available for you to see my whole screen. So the way that I'm teaching you to do it is to use PowerPoint and the tools inherent to PowerPoint along with a free download called Audacity that I've already given you training on the contributor website. So what I'm doing now is sort of showing you rather than telling you how it all looks when you put the whole thing together. Okay, so I've got my PowerPoint and I've put it together, and then I've decided what I want to say. As I have the PowerPoint slide up, I move over here to a Word document and I decide what I want to say and I write my script. Now I've already written the script so that I wouldn't have to waste time here, and I'm going to resize it so you can see the whole thing. Again, the content's not such a big deal as the methods. Now, I also have already recorded the audio, so I've already read the script into Audacity, and I don't think I really need to show you how to do this because I already showed you how to do that on a training recording, and I don't want to duplicate training methods. By this time you probably already have the Audacity files together anyway. Okay, so at this point what I want to do is take my PowerPoint that I've already saved, and I want to save it as a PDF, and I'm going to save it in the same place that I've already saved it as a PowerPoint, and I'm going to come down and save it as a PDF. Now I've already done that, so I don't need to click save. You would need to click save. The reason that I have you do that is that while you're listening to the recording, you're going to want a method without having to pay to print off all your printing expenses to print off every slide. A method of telling yourself exactly when each piece to the puzzle comes in. So in other words, over here on Audacity, you've got a ruler bar. It looks like a ruler, but it's not really measuring space, it's measuring time. And each animation that you have over on the right side, you're going to want to come in at certain entrances. So you want a piece of your PowerPoint to arrive at the same time that you're saying something specific. And so you're going to go through the Audacity recording, and using the time signatures up here, you're going to type in on your PDF exactly what time, and here I want 1.7 for by Ruth Ann Frederick and 5.5 for creating MP4s, and this is why. I'm going to play it and hopefully you'll be able to hear why. Hello, this is Mrs. Frederick, and I'm happy to provide you with this supplemental recording for making videos using PowerPoint and Audacity. Okay, so you'll see I only had those two timings to come in because I only had two things that I would be using for an interest and an animation. I did the same thing for the next slide. I'll resize it. I didn't show you that on the next slide, but it would look something like this. I might have my title come in at 2 seconds, and then my second bullet point I might come in at 5 seconds, and then maybe a picture comes in right behind that at 5.5, and then maybe the second one at 7 seconds, and then the next picture at 7.5, and then the last picture at 9. I also added a footer to all of mine that said something to the effect of developed exclusively for over-the-bar instruction by Ruth Ann Frederick, or developed by Ruth Ann Frederick exclusively for all over-the-bar instruction TM. And I also used the logo. By the way, if you are on the Dropbox folder, OTBI podcast submissions folder in Dropbox, the logos are there for you if you'd like to add them to your podcasts. And I would love that because that would be extra advertising. Okay, so you see how you're going to time them on your PDF. Well, then once you have that done, you can go back over to the PowerPoint. Okay, now I have two monitors, so I normally have my PDF open on my secondary monitor. So I'm going to slide that over there just for a minute. You won't be able to see it, but I'm sliding it over where I can see it on the other side. And that's when I go back to my PowerPoint, and first I'm going to insert the audio. Okay, so insert my audio, and I've named, as I taught you in the other clips, I've named my audio something that makes sense. So audio on my PC, and then I go find the audio for the slide number. And notice I've got a series of folders and subfolders so that everything makes sense. I've got a folder for each project, and then I have an audio file and an image file for all my clip art. By the way, I do have a membership for us at clipart.com. If you are in need of clip art to make sure you're not having any copyright infringement issues, give me a yell and I'll give you the login information. I think we get something like 250 downloads per week with that on that login. So obviously we don't want to go crazy and lose our minds doing it, and I probably have already used up this week's worth, so we'll see. Anyway, those aren't real super expensive to get a membership there, and you might want one for yourself because we certainly don't want you to take me over the top of my limit of 250. I think it's 250 a week that I get. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty close to that already, so maybe I shouldn't have said that. Okay, so anyway, you see that you have a logical place to put your file and a logical name for your audio. And when you import it, okay, it'll show up in the middle of your slide. Okay, you don't want it in the middle of your slide, so you're going to move it down here off. Now, I already have mine there, so I'm going to delete the one I just put in there because I actually already had one there. It'll still play. It's just not going to show up in your movie. Nobody will see it. Okay, and so then I can leave the audio behind. I can actually close it at that point because I'm done with it. I can also close the script because I'm done with that. At this point, all I'm dealing with is putting my animations in. And so what I'll do is pull my PDF over, and I've got my PDF right beside my PowerPoint. Now for me, I would have that all the way over on another slide or on another screen. So I'm going to pull it kind of as far over as I can so I get better. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and pull it off. Just remember those numbers 1.7 and 5.5. And there's a reason I want you to see this whole thing. I want to go into animations. Okay. And if you have PowerPoint 2013, you have an animation pane. And over here you can see what I've already done. I'm going to sort of undo what I did so that I can show you again what to do. Now I already put the audio in, and so it shows up first. It's there. And then I'm going to add an animation, and I get to choose the movement by which this piece comes in. I might zoom it in. I might grow and turn it in. That's really good for pictures. I might make it sort of, slide in with those little bars, random bars. I might make it, this is really nice for that circular logo if you choose to do the logo thing. Lots of different ways. When it's a title bar like this, when it's wording, my three go-tos for the wording is to float in, to fly in, and I usually use that if I'm saying things quickly, one behind the other, or wipe in. Those are the three I normally use for wording. And then I'll add the second one, and I can't remember what I did for the first one now, but if you click back in the first one, it'll show you what you did. You can click on it and go, I can't remember what I did. If you don't want to do the same thing, then the next time you can float in. So you can change it up a little bit. I like to keep, like if I've got 3 different headings at the same level, sort of in an outline format, I like to do the same thing with each of those, and then maybe I'll do something different on all the subpoints. Okay, now at this point, your audio will be at the bottom normally. I had already moved mine to the top, but yours will start out at the bottom, and you'll want to pull it all the way up to the top and click on that and hold your shift key down and click on the bottom one so they're all selected. And then on this little down arrow on the far right side, you're going to click on the down arrow and select start with previous. That way all the little mice disappear and you don't have to click to make anything happen. Then all I'm going to do, I'm leaving the audio where it is because I want that to start as soon as I start a new slide. I'm moving my animations over to match the numbers. Okay, so this one is 5.5, and then I remember, wait a minute, it was by Ruth Ann first. By Ruth Ann was at 1.7. Now you don't have to have them in the same order. In other words, you don't have to have them show up over here in the animation pane in the same order they're going to come in. But it's easier to arrange your numbers. It just makes better sense if you put them in, if you click on each item in the order that you want them to show up, because then over here on the right they show up in that order. And if you're doing it right, then all these little green things should be moving down and to the right. So obviously that gets more complex if you have more than, you know, I've got some that has 25 animations on it because I have a lot of little things coming in on some. I try to keep it simple. The better ones are more like about 10 animations per page or even fewer, but every once in a while there are a lot of moving parts, and that makes this task a little bit more tedious. So you can test it and play from the beginning like this. Okay, and so I'm just going to click the escape button because I don't need to go through anything else with you. And then I'll go on to the second slide, and you'll see here I'm gonna go ahead and I'm actually going to delete all of the transitions and do it again for you so that you can see how I did that. And I'm going to pull the, well, if you remember, I did the 2 seconds and then 5 seconds, and then I brought the, well, anyway, you remember when I put the numbers on the PDF. So I might choose float in for the top, okay, and then I've got this one comes in at 5 seconds. Now with bullets, they don't all have, like, all the whole list doesn't have to come in at the same time. So I've got this one at 5 seconds, and then I'm going to come over here to the picture because that was at 5.5 seconds. I'm going to grow and turn that. And then I've got the second one at 7 seconds, and I floated in on the last one, so I'm going to float in on the next one. And then I've got this other picture that's going to be at 7.5 seconds, so I'm going to put that one in. I'll zoom that one. And then the final one will be floating in as well. Again, I have to make sure my audio is at the top. The default sends it to the bottom, so I have to click and drag it to the top. And then again, I have to click on it and hold the shift down and click on the bottom one, so I select all of them. Use the drop down arrow on the right side to select start with previous, and all the little mice disappear. Then I can start with my numbers again. So this one is at 2 seconds. And if I've taken the time to listen to the Audacity and put the numbers in accurately on my PDF, this becomes super easy and quick, and you'll get faster and faster at this. To the point that I can do 2 podcasts in a day now, where the first podcast took me a week. So hopefully this for you will also get better and better. And so 7 and 7.5, and then, oops, and then 9. There we go. Okay, and then we can start from the beginning, start from that one, and test it again and play it. I don't really need to do that. What I want to do right now, though, is show you, once you're sure you have it all done and you've played each slide to make sure everything is timed right and you've made whatever adjustments you need to make over here in the animation pane, then you're ready to export it to an MP4 file, which is the format that we'll use to put it on the website. So we're going to come to File, and of course we're going to save it as the PowerPoint that it is. That's obvious that we're going to do that. But then right after we save it, we're going to do a save, not a save as, but an export. We're going to export it, and when we click on export, we're going to create a video. Now the default is for computer and HD displays, but that's not what we want. We want internet and DVD. Okay, because this is going to be handled over the internet. So once we have that selected, we don't have to worry about the bottom stuff. We're going to create the video. Now if you look at the, well, you'll have to find a place to put it, and in this case it's going to overwrite something that's already there because I had already had it in there. For yours it'll save in the right place. But look at the bottom. You see down here at the bottom that little thermometer that's going over? This one's a pretty simple one, so it happened quickly. Yours will be more complex, so it'll take a little bit more time. But then you're done with the MP4, and you can watch it in your Windows Media Player. And that is how you put the pieces all together to make the movie. Thank you so much, and I hope this really helps you out.